Hello, SNHU 107 students, and welcome to this quick focus video on where to find your discussion assignments in your SNHU 107 class. You can find your discussion assignments actually two different ways. One of the ways is to go underneath course menu and click right on discussions. When you click on discussions, it is going to bring up all the discussions that you have for your SNHU 107 course. I wanted to point out that there is this general questions discussion area. This is a space where if you have questions about the course or information related to the course or anything that's about like the current module or anything SNHU 107, this is a place where you can post those questions and your instructor will get back to you usually within 24 hours. If you have questions about like your specific grade or something that's personal, go ahead and email your instructor. Don't put that in the general question space just because it is a public space and all classmates can see it. If you scroll down, you will see module discussions. And I like to encourage students to click this little down arrow and click on subscribe. Because when you do that, and you can put send an instant notification, that means it'll send you an email. When you do that, it'll show you when anybody posts in the discussion board. It's really helpful to be able to see when students are in there and responding, so you can actively be a part of the discussion board. You will notice under module discussions that you will see the title of each week's or each module's discussion in blue. So for this 1-1 discussion, what does taking ownership mean to you? You'll see it's in blue. And if you scroll down, you will see all the discussions for your term all the way through week 8. But you want to make sure you're in the right place and doing the module that you are assigned. So for this week, we're just going to look at module 1's discussion. So what you want to do is you actually click on the blue, gets you to where you want to go, and it's going to pull up just a little bit of an overview again of the discussion. I wanted to point out that you will have two things that you do for the discussion assignment when they're assigned in the module. One, you'll have an initial post, and that's you answering with your thoughts and experiences a set of questions from week to week. That's the first thing you'll do. Those initial posts are always due by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. on the weeks that you have them assigned. For your first week, they're due by 11:59 p.m. East Coast time. After you do that initial post, you are responsible for submitting at least 2 responses or peer response posts to at least 2 of your classmates, okay? So you need to respond to 2 classmates. Make sure when you're responding to your peers that you're writing more than a sentence or 2. You really want to think about how you can kind of cultivate that conversation and expand upon it. You know, share things you might have in common, maybe something that you learned from that post that they shared. You can also ask questions. You can share relevant articles or support for their success. Those are just some ideas. The biggest thing is make sure you write more than just a sentence or 2. Those are always due by Sundays at 11:59 p.m. Can you work on them earlier in the week? Yes, of course you can. But it's just really important to realize that you have that Thursday and Sunday deadline. So for the very first week, you are answering these 4 questions. 1, you're going to introduce yourself. Your name, your pronouns if you want, where you're from, maybe your major, any hobbies or interests you might have, your degree. Those are all the things that you're sharing this week. It's just a great way for your classmates to get to know you. You also are going to explain what you think it means to take ownership of your personal success during this course. Question 3, you're going to discuss this week's resources on taking ownership, and you're going to answer these 3 questions. How did they help you define the concept of taking ownership? How did they support what you knew about taking ownership? And then identify examples of how you're going to own your own academic journey. And then the 4th and final question you're answering is discuss your why. Like, what motivated you to start here at SNHU? What's going to drive you as a student? And what are some of your academic or career goals? And if you're still figuring it out, that's okay. But those are the questions that you're answering. To actually answer those questions, you want to click on Start a New Thread. And I always like to put like an introduction post like Melanie's Week 1 Introduction or whatever you want to name it. It just makes it easy to find it once you submit it so you can make sure that it got submitted okay. And then you type right here in this text box. So this is where you put your answer to those questions. Top tip, I do have some students that like to put the questions in Microsoft Word first, and then they copy and paste it over into the discussion forum. This way, it just helps them make sure they answered everything and they spell check it before they submit it. Once you are done with typing your answers and having them in here, you want to click Post. Once you click Post, it'll be up in the discussion board for you to be able to access it. Other students will be able to see it, and you'll be able to see other discussion posts posted by your classmates, so you'll be able to respond to them. If you have questions, if you get stuck, don't hesitate to reach out to your instructor, okay? Now, I mentioned that was one way to find the discussion area. The other way is by clicking on course menu and going into the learning modules. When you do that, let's look at module 1. When you do that and you click on the module, as you work through the module content, so through the overview, and it'll also go through any required resources. These are such powerful resources for you to make sure that you're watching the videos, reading the articles in addition to your textbook reading. You'll notice right here, the discussion's right here again. Same discussion, 2 different spots, but it'll only post in the one. If you get stuck, if you have questions, don't hesitate to let your instructor know. Also, it's a great time to use the academic support team. You can just click on academic support and you can upload and submit your draft for the discussion post under written feedback by clicking on try it now and following the steps. Have a great week in SNHU 107. You got this.